Whenever we talk about Borneo, Sarawak, the images of indigenous people, their way of life surrounded by the dense jungle often come to mind. Going deep inside the jungle of Borneo to live with the indigenous people with little or no exposure to the world is kind of like an adventure. And many anthropologists and filmmakers alike are looking forward to, go into the jungle and do film about that. And for that, in this episode of Director's Cut, I will be in conversation with two filmmakers whose film, The Penan Project, featuring an NGO, volunteers in providing basic health check and personal hygiene supplies to the people of Penan who had settled along the rivers not far away from the logging sites. And this, for your information, the film had recently won Silver Award, Spotlight Documentary Film Awards 2020. And let's welcome our filmmakers, Big Lau or Lau, the directors, editors, and also the drone operator for that production. And also at the same time, we had Harun in the house. Hi, Harun.
Woo! Yeah. We have an friendship.
Yes. we are very glad to have two of them in the house. And as we know, yes, I'm very thankful. So, as we know, Lau had been actually trained as an engineer and be working in one of the leading telecommunications service provider in Malaysia. But now he had decided to work full-time as a filmmaker in Sarawak. Meanwhile, Harun is a fearless, adventurous, and passionate. That's what he told me to say. Videographer. And because, as I was told, he had been prioritizing a lot of meaningful footages by risking his life and even his safety in order for him to achieve all the creative shots that he wants. So let's talk to them now. Okay, maybe Lau, can you tell us, walk us through on how this project got started?
Actually, this about the NGO who is reaching out to the Penan, to Ulubaram, is topics that I would like to do years ago. But I don't have the contact to reach out to people who is doing that. Earlier last year, around January, my colleague Amalina told me that there's somebody they want us to help them to document their reach out. So I asked her what is it about on the reach out. Then she told me that actually is the medical assistant and the research NGO is giving to the people in Ulubaran, which is the Penan. Then I was like, well, things that I would like to do, but I cannot get the contact. Then suddenly it comes to us. Then of course I say yes lah. Then because of that, we managed to communicate up with Anne Wong, who is the one of the initiator for the Shines Project. She's also the co-founder for the Penan Women Project. And then actually, for your information, when we do our production, when we shoot in Ulubaram, actually we have not been, the lockdown is not started yet. After a few weeks, we finish our shooting, then begins on the lockdown. But at that time, COVID-19 is everywhere already. And actually, the NGO did bring some message to the Penan, telling them what is COVID-19 about and how they should make themselves safe from the virus, things like that.
Yeah, interesting. Because that is a very critical time. It's very likely that your production should be cancelled by that time. But later on, due to your producer who is very persuasive and convince your boss to allow you all to go there and then to do the shooting. Otherwise, it will not be happening, right?
Yeah, actually, we did our pre-production like a few weeks, and then a day before we going to depart to this Miri and then to Ulubaram, our management suddenly decided that maybe we better stay back in the office. Yeah. So basically, we have prepared everything, mentally prepared also. So, but eventually, because of our producer, Mariana, she go and negotiate and persuade our management that we should actually go, because it's actually a meaningful project that we should be participating with. And then eventually the management agreed, and then yeah, that's how we managed to produce this documentary. If not, there won't be any documentary about this.
Yeah, true. Okay. But at the same time, Harun, maybe you want to do a shout out to Mama Mariana before we talk to
Yeah,
you about
I'm
what
dying to
wow.
shout it.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
let you do a shout out.
Mama, I love you. Thank you, Mariana.
Okay, cool. Maybe
I'm on TV.
Harun can tell us what did you do in this project that you bring meanings to this project? Because I was told you and Eng and Lau, two of you were there together, like very minute team, right? What was your
Ooh.
contribution?
Basically, I'm doing this most, not like most, like part of the cinematography in the films. Like took like beautiful shots, like meaningful shots to add some feel, so we can watch like we are watching Net Geo or Discovery Channel. So that's my part lah, and that's basically it.
Because,
Yes.
because it's a very small team, just the two of us. So we are both the camera operator. And actually, most of the shots it was taken by Harun. And then, in fact, when I distribute the tasks, I'm telling him that help me to get all the creative and beautiful shots, because I won't ever be doing so, because I will be concentrating in recording on what happened on the journey. So actually, he really helped me to. He did a great job. He really get a lot of footage, beautiful footage.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So
I can see that. I can see that. And I was told it was a very near-death experience when both of you were there. So back later, we're going to talk to these two filmmakers about how their experience of near-death had actually changed their mind about life, as well as making film about documentary and people in Sarawak. So stay tuned on TVS. Welcome back. Thank you for watching Director's Cut on TVS that features passionate filmmakers sharing their insight on film, its making, and also what happened behind the camera. So today, we are very honored to have Lau and also Harun in the house. Hi, Harun and Lau.
hello, hello,
Just
yeah.
before the break just now, we were talking about your near-death experience, where I was told in this process of making, there were a lot of kind of like accidents or that maybe somehow threaten your life.
So the day before we go in Ulubaram, because for information, the road from Miri to Long Lama is actually Tasio Road, but from Long Lama into Ulubaram is gravel road. It's a timber track actually. So the night before we go, actually there's actually quite some heavy rains, and then because of that, the gravel road is very muddy, and actually it's very slippery. So there's a few point when the car drifted uncontrollably, and then when you look out to the window, it's actually just you're drifting beside the cliff. Yeah. By that time, you just have to trust your driver that he will he will keep you in life, and then you have to trust the four-wheel drive, the machine, that it won't break down. So in fact, because I'm sitting on the back on the right side, so the cliff is actually just at my side, and Harun is actually sitting in front. So in fact, when I come back, when I think about it, in fact, it's quite a dangerous trip. So you can imagine that that is my once in a while traveling there to take some footages. So just imagine those people living there, the Penan, they have to travel in that kind of situation every day.
I can imagine that, and I think it's very scary. And I imagine you are having a family at home. When you are experiencing that, you kind of like remember, oh, my wife, my daughters, my sons are at home.
When you come back and when you settle most of your things, and when you are like alone, when you think back of the journey, then you think like, wow, what if the drifting off track, and then it really fall down the cliff? What will happen? Yeah. this kind of things you cross
Yeah.
mind that it's like quite a risky journey. Yeah.
Did your impression about the villages and the village and also the Penan people had changed after and before the journey?
Actually, I've been to quite a few places like Kapit, Song, Bunan Gega. So this rural area is not new for me, but Ulu Baram is a different level for me lah. Is I think the road condition is poor. It's not just poor; it's far and poor. The bridge is so dangerous. I think you can jatuh anytime with your car down there lah. It's hard to imagine the situation lah. I cannot think of a word to describe that.
That was the experience. How about the people, Lau? What do you think about the people before and when you arrived there?
Okay. Actually, this production is my second production in Ulubaram. Previously, I already been to Ulubaram with another production. So the previously before I been to Ulubaram, my impression of Penang is they are still nomad, and then my impression is they should be like in a very traditional, living in a very traditional way, hard things like that. But actually, they are not. They are actually quite settling down. They actually acquire all the logging camp, which eventually they turn it to a lot of the villages. They called it long, which is just the long is just beside the river. They use the river to name their village, and then they are just dressing up like just what we used to wear. But they don't like to wear shoes.
Yeah.
They don't like to wear shoes.
They don't like us, or they don't have the luxury. What do you think?
Yeah, I think both lah, both. Yeah, and that's
As being
why
depicted in the documentary, by having no shoes or having no luxury of wearing the shoes, it also caused a lot of health problem to them.
that's correct. Yes. And then their life is really simple. They eat simple food. And then most of the food they actually acquire from the nearby forests. From there, you can see that actually, Harun and me agree that life is actually quite simple. You just, in the city, you want a lot of luxury. You want a nice car, a big house. But actually, people can survive without all this. Yeah, and they can live quite well. Just that all those basic facilities such as the water, electricity, and a good, decent access road is still needed by the people there. Yeah,
I can see that. As we can see from the documentary, it was a bit repetitive in the sense that you had to follow from one village to another village. So the sense of repetition can kind of like recurring, but you did some magical work on it. So what did you done? What did you do in order to make sure your audience are engaged throughout?
Before we go in, we actually do a pre-production. We do a treatment. We have some expectation what it should happen to make the documentary more interesting. But you know, in an observative type of documentary, you can't control the situation. So basically, what the team did is actually, I agree with you, is very repetitive. They do the same thing at every village. But we are very
fall asleep.
So
even fall asleep under the tree. Okay, sorry, Lau.
Yes. One afternoon. So we are very lucky is because there's some incident happened for us to capture. For example, when we first go in, the car stuck in the mud, we cause a traffic jam, which the team is concerned that whether they can reach the first village on time, because the first village is like 10 hours from Miri. And then like incidents such as half of the convoy lost their way because they cannot catch up with the convoy in front. Things like that happen. And we are very lucky that this kind of incident happened for us to capture.
Okay. So you were not making the drama, but the drama just presented itself to you in order for you to capture, kind of.
Yes, because luckily. Because actually after the shoot every night, me and Harun will discuss what we have and what we should do the next morning. So initially, we are quite concerned that the documentary may be boring, although the content is very inspiring and very impactful. But in order to present the content so that people will watch, you still need a lot of interesting things to keep on people watching.
Yeah.
So we are a bit lucky lah. Yeah, we are a bit lucky that it didn't happen. Yes.
Whenever people being anxious for the tragedy, me and Lau were celebrating. Oh yeah, we got footage.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay, got it. Yes. So we are, as a filmmakers, especially
Yes.
documentary filmmakers, we celebrate the real drama that happened in front of us, because these are the things that we should capture, and in order for us to put into the film as maybe the climax or the conflicts and things like that. Okay, back later, we're going to talk to Lau and also Harun about did they apply self-censorship on their film, because in a way that film is a bit sensitive in the sense, but did that happen? And also well later we're going to talk about how impactful the film was. So stay tuned. Filmmaking isn't a fancy nor an easy process, and it requires so much thinking, planning, and also hard work to make the film possible. For example, this film, the Penan Project with Lau and Harun, the only two crew that went on ground to make the film possible. And when they were on ground, they had to think so much. Either the film might be offending people, maybe some kind of censorship that may happen. So did that somehow change the formula that make their film? So we are going to talk to them about this, because all this while we were told, or kind of like a lot of documentary, when they depart from the activist point of view, they will highlight the people's struggle, maybe the community struggle, and also the environmental destruction, which may jeopardize the image of the logging companies or even the state government. So did that happen to both of them? And what did they do in order to make sure that tell the story that they really want to tell? Okay, Lau, could you start this?
Okay. Actually, before I joined them, I never met Anne before. I never met Anne before. But when we are in Muri, the day before we depart, we are doing a lot of preparation, things like that. So from there, we start to have some conversation, talk about things, and then why he initiated this Penan Women Project. We can understand that actually, when I talk with her, we can understand that she's actually helping to address an issue, resolving an issue in a more constructive way. Yeah. So from there, you can see that actually, yes, we are addressing a little bit sensitive social issue. But this NGO, they are actually collecting research data, and then they will eventually table out to the government to set direction, what the government should do in order to resolve some of the things. Let's say whether they need to build more clinics, or whether they need to send the flying doctors to which part of the village, things like that. And I think we are still okay to address a sensitive issue, but in a more constructive manner. Yeah.
Okay, maybe Harun, you have something to say about what do you think about censorship? Did that change your mind about how to make a film?
In Malaysia, particularly, I think the censorship is quite hard. It's not impossible to do a film, but if you look at the guideline, we can see there's a lot of things that we cannot do in films somehow, but it helps us to think more creative manner, in more critical, so we can make a good film without offending anyone. I think that's the mindset that everyone should have.
I'm very happy to know how this documentary has turned out to be such a powerful tool to drive the help that this NGO has been working on. So maybe just zooming out, because that is only one of the film made in Sarawak by Sarawakian crew. So what do you think as Sarawakian filmmaker, how can we actually make a betterment to this industry that we are having at the moment? Is there any way that we can keep on improving what we have?
Okay, from my point of view, we cannot just settle down on what we have. We cannot be satisfied on what we have been filming. We have to push further.
Yeah.
don't make equipment as an excuses. Let's push to a standard that we can beat Hollywood or Korean film or whatsoever. That's our goal. Don't expect less. Expect more. Yeah,
Yes.
that's my point lah.
Yes. Yeah, a good point. Don't settle down, but instead we should never feel contented with what we have and keep on pushing for betterment. Thank you, Harun, for that point. How about you, Lau? I believe you have a lot of things to say.
The Sarawak is the only state that has a TV station. So actually, Sarawak Media Group, who own TVS, is providing a very good platform for fellow Sarawakians to develop and showcase their product. And then with the television station, they give a lot of opportunities to a lot of these media creative talents to show off their skills. So, in fact, it is very important and a very good start for the people here in Sarawak and in Borneo. Yeah.
I hope you are not keep passing them.
I'm not. Actually, it is a very good platform.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I do agree with Lau on that matter.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then in Sarawak, in Borneo, there's a lot of things that we can capture, lah. And then I think through our unique environment, our cultures, I think we can capture a lot of good contents, and then we should aim for achievements such as like being sent to film festivals and even targeting to be able to sell to international.
That is a great point. I believe we are having or nurturing the industry at the moment. We are seeing a lot of young people being incorporated into either TVS or even film production out there. They are making a drama, series, or documentaries, and they are also highlighting a lot of issues in relation to Sarawak or Borneo as a whole. So we hope that this will be keep on inspiring more people, including what you have been doing, Lau and Harun. Probably at the moment, you can share with us, are you having any upcoming projects so that, it kept us excited and we wanted to see your film, and probably in the future, that is how Sarawak filmmaking is to be. And I believe it's getting more and more exciting at the moment. So can you share with us any upcoming project that you are working on at the moment?
Okay. I'm actually working on a featured documentary about shipbuilding industry in Sarawak, which is in Cebu. Yeah, that one is actually I pitched under FINA's featured documentary grant. I got the offer letter, but I haven't signed the contract yet. Quite an interesting topic to talk about.
Okay, maybe a wrap-up words from you both. Maybe Harun, you want to say something to the audience and keep them spirited.
My last word is I hope that we as Sarawakian, we can push the industry film further, standing dengan level-level yang orang lain lah, orang dapat. So if orang lain dapat, kita pun boleh sama-sama makan nasi. So we can do this, guys. Okay, Lau.
Okay. I hope there's another similar production that we can do together again. This documentary is not perfect yet, but I think giving us some more times and resources, I'm sure we can do even better.
I love your humble take about things. By staying humble, I believe that is the way forward. Thank you very much to have Lau and Harun on board today. And also, a great thank you for all of you out there watching us on TVS. And for information, in the past episode, we have spoken to renowned filmmakers such as Yue, Nadia Hamza, and young and upcoming filmmakers such as Muzamil, and Bornean filmmakers such as Mark Abbas, Debra, Putri, and Harry. So in order to watch those films, you have missed out all of them. No worry, you can check out on TVS YouTube channels. And this episode, for information, is produced by Nazwan, hosted, researched, and co-produced by me, your truly. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more on TVS. We inspire your work.
Bye-bye.